what's up and why, bringing you the bright side of life, one fun moment at a time. Brought to you by the New Thought Media Network. Please put your hands together for your hosts, Rev Casey Taylor and Miss B Lovely.
Yeah, I love that that the people didn't get to see that you were putting on your makeup right before. Like, we went live and you were just glam, Be Lovely. Welcome, Be Lovely. Oh, I can't hear you at all. I think you are muted because you.
Oh yeah, I did mute it. I was muted, but you know,
getting glam.
muted and rebooted it. So I am back. Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another episode. I was trying to put my lip gloss and stuff on inconspicuously, but you know, Rev Casey Taylor loves to call us out on our BS, don't you?
It's not BS, it's BTS, behind the scenes.
Isn't that a K-pop group?
BTS? That too. Yes.
Oh well, you know, I don't pay attention to the K-pop stuff because you know, cultural appropriation, but that's a conversation for a different day. How you be today? How you be on this snow week? Everybody's all snowed in and stuff, dealing with this snowcrete outside.
Yes, Be Lovely. My name is Casey Taylor. I use they, them pronouns. And despite the snow, I've worked a full week despite the snow, and I got under the weather too. I feel like sometimes the more I'm at home alone, the more my body's like, let's just be here, you know? And so I just, you know, I really had to put down work. Like, I noticed that the more I worked, the worse I felt. So I was like, okay, like, I'm really just going to have to sit here and watch Queen Charlotte. And I enjoyed catching up on Netflix shows. There's a new season of Bridgerton coming out super soon. So I am up to date. Stranger Things. I am all up to date. How you be Lovely?
I be really good. Like, everything's been good. I was able to relax, catch up on some shows. I finally got into The Wire, and I'm on season 4 of The Wire, and I am loving it so far. So it's been good to just sit back, relax, catch up on life. And, you know, with award season coming up and like all the announcements is coming up, I'm just really, really excited. And I was actually you saw a few minutes before we went online, I was surprised that the Grammys is going to be this Sunday. I had no idea that the Grammys was sneaking up on us that fast because of all the work that I've been doing, like with the Olympics and everything, preparing for that, which is starting on February 6th. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot, but it's been fun.
I am glad that you figured it out because as we've been going down backwards from Mariah's Here for It All for each week's theme of our show, we're coming up down to The Wire. I need to watch The Wire too. I do not have Max right these days, so I don't have a way to watch it. But we're on the
Wait a minute, you don't have a way to watch it?
I don't have a way to watch it. I don't. We could talk about that offline. We on the same page. This week's theme is play this song, Mariah's song with Anderson .Paak, who did get a Grammy Award nomination. Here for It All did not qualify yet. It's outside of that window, so it'll qualify for the 2027. Yes, it will. But Anderson .Paak is getting his love, and he'll probably be there.
And he's actually going on tour with Bruno Mars, the stadium tour. He's the DJ. I didn't even realize it when I was looking up stuff because Bruno had announced that Victoria Monet, Leon Harris, and Anderson .Paak was going to be on tour with him. But on the flyer, I was seeing DJ Pee-wee. And I'm like, wait, I'm not seeing Anderson .Paak. And then when I did some research, DJ Pee-wee is Anderson .Paak's DJ name. And I'm like, sir, can you just go by continuity, please? How am I supposed to know the difference between Anderson .Paak and DJ Pee-wee? But I guess
gotta have your persona. Like for me,
that's what I'm saying. I respect it, but it's like for continuity purposes. Like I was looking for Anderson .Paak. I don't know who this DJ Pee-wee is, but now I know. If you don't know, DJ Pee-wee is Anderson .Paak.
Thank you for informing the people. I had no idea. My drag name is K Chill. As my maiden name was Frost. Chill, like K Chill. KC in my early Kate before I was using KC. I had a little brief phase where I went through KC like 15 years ago and came back to it, and I am so grateful. I much rather be KC these days.
I like KC, especially since, you know, Well, I'm not even going to get into that.
We're not even
I
going to get
saw
into
that the
it.
millennials actually came up with a new name.
Was it Jessica? Was
yes,
that?
Jessica is now the new Karen, and they said there was a male version of Karen, and not the millennials, the Gen Z. So Jessica is the new Karen, and David is the male version of Karen. I don't understand how they came up with these names. I don't know what type of polling or research that they did, but Gen Z has spoken.
Yeah, and I wouldn't give it to a David. I'd give it to like a Josh. That would
Oh my goodness.
in my Hollywood days, I was in a call once where somebody said it was Matt was the name. How they said that there are more agents named Matt at this agency than there are black agents, and I was like, "Tell them whatever call this was." I was like, "Tell them,"
Calling it out.
yeah, I mean, in my experience, like the person causing problems, calling the police is a Josh. It's never it's been a Josh.
So if you know a Josh or you know a Jessica, watch out, y'all, because Gen Z said they just might you know what? I'm not even gonna say that sentence. I'm gonna keep it going. But we're gonna get into the bag because we got some fun stuff to talk about today. So as I said earlier, this weekend the Grammys are gonna be handed out. One of the people that's going to be celebrated before the actual ceremony on Sunday, on Friday, is going to be the Music Cares ceremony. And Mariah Carey is actually going to be taking away the Impact Award. She's going to be celebrated for her extraordinary career and her long-standing commitment to supporting communities and people in need. And I think that is well deserved because from the beginning, Mariah had the what was it? Is it the Fresh Air Fund, where she would like help inner city children in New York City, take them out of the inner city, take them out to the countryside, help them be able to like, explore different types of hobbies and activities and stuff. And Mariah,
Tiffany Haddish went to one of those camps. I'm pretty sure I heard her on a
yes, I forgot about that. What are the odds? I'm curious.
She was an inner city kid in New York, and that's who it was for. So I mean, obviously, it was getting to the right people, and it was one of those things. Like Tiffany Haddish talked about how those arts programs that she had access to is how she became Tiffany Haddish.
Mm-hmm. The arts programs are very, very important because a lot of people don't know it's expensive to like get into like music classes and stuff. And like, there was even a post that I saw when it came to like tennis, like that's outside of the arts, that's sports, but accessibility to those types of things and like these programs where the celebrities and people who have money are pouring into the arts, pouring into sports, helping children who come from families who are just able to get by and don't have enough money to be able to help fund their children's, activities. Being able to do those extracurricular activities could lead to a long-standing career that could really help that person. So shout out to Mariah, who has always been committed to not just her music, but also giving back and to the kids, because Mariah has never played about the kids. She's always been there for the kids.
Always.
Mm-hmm. In the other Grammy news, it was just announced that Lady Gaga is going to be performing at the Grammys this Sunday. I'm excited because she is up for several awards for her new album, Mayhem. Mayhem was amazing. Like if you were a fan of the Fame and the Fame Monster, Mayhem is your girl because I feel like she went back into her bag for that. But yeah, there's a lot of good people that are up for Grammys this Sunday, and I would even though Beyonce's not up, but we have who else is up for some Grammys? Taylor Swift is up for some Grammys. We also have
Bad Bunny always gets nominated.
Bad Bunny is gonna have a good February because he's also performing at the Super Bowl too.
Yeah,
so that's gonna be a big deal. So wishing them all the best. We're going to be talking about who's going to be bringing home those big awards next week after the Grammys air. But a big announcement in film was announced today. The Library of Congress announced the 25 films for 2026, which is going to be inducted into the National Film Registry. So every year, the Library of Congress, they select about 25 films that they say represent like American culture, that really pushed the culture forward, that made a significant impact in the industry and in America as a whole. So movies that are being inducted this year: The Karate Kid, Clueless, Gloria, Philadelphia, Disney's The Incredibles. I loved The Incredibles as a kid. The
Where
grand
is my super suit? Why do you know?
and the fact that we never saw his wife, like she was just the off the camera character, but she still had a significant impact in the film. That was very clever. The Truman Show, Frida, Inception is also being inducted, and they actually had a movie from a silent film from 1896. I think it was called The Dog and the Tramp. The Lady and the Tramp. No, The Dog and the Tramp. So they went all the way
Maybe
back.
that was the OG Lady and the Tramp. Maybe that's where it came from.
It was a silent film, but yeah, that's really interesting. And there's 925 films that's in the Library of Congress's registry. So if you're interested to read about all 25 films, go to the Library of Congress website and do your history, get into the films. I am an avid cinephile. I love watching movies. I love the art of storytelling, especially original storytelling. So I'm just really, really, really excited with everything that's going on with the awards ceremonies and stuff, especially since Sinners is really taking off this year.
Yes.
And it got all those nominations for the Oscars.
Last week, did we talk about Begonia? Was that the movie with Emma
Stone when she shaved her head off? And
yep.
you said if you shave your head, you have to get an Oscar.
Yeah, I watched that movie and it was wild. It was wild.
Good wild or bad wild?
It was wild. Like, do you remember Boots Riley? It was like I cannot think of the name of it. I remember there being a horse involved.
No Country for Old Men?
No, Boots Riley is it with the dude from Atlanta was in it, starred in it. The guy who's always Lakeith Stanfield from Atlanta starred in it.
Oh, Lakeith Stanfield. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure of the movie.
You know what? You probably didn't see it. When I said it was wild, it was a wild movie. I remember I saw the theater. What is it?
Not Black Jesus.
No, definitely not Black Jesus. That was a series. It was a movie and it was crazy. And Begonia is also one of those movies that is just straight up, it's crazy. Which in some ways is fun because movies can be either like, it's like this is what I was saying last week about Oscar movies, is they have a tendency to be like really slow or this like really artsy way where you're like, what am I watching? And the movie was absolutely one of these, like, what am I watching? Like the whole time. I'm like, I can't even tell you what
Emma Stone.
But it was interesting. It was interesting. It's one of those movies that it's like, what is even going on here? Kind of like Everything Everywhere All at Once, but not where the theme is not nearly as clear.
I liked Everything Everywhere All at Once because it was a cute little like action fantasy type of thing. I think I'm going to give Begonia a chance because Emma Stone, she does surprise me in films. Like I really loved her last film with William Dafoe, and it was really, really popular in the awards season last year. I forgot the name of it. Oh my goodness, but she's really good, and she just got nominated for a BAFTA award for Best Actress. So she must have really made an impact. I'm going to put that on my list. It was films really I need to see
for sure. And as somebody who's into like horror movies, I think you might be into it. I think
Begonia has some horror elements.
It does have some horror elements to it. Yes, it does.
I love me a scary movie.
Yes, it's not framed like that. It isn't like, jump scare. Like it's like, you really don't see this coming. That's just really what it is.
Say less. I'm gonna have to give Begonia a watch. Okay.
I'm gonna have to talk about it next week. You let me know.
Yes. But one last thing before we get into our next segment. Want to give a shout out to all the nominees for the BAFTA Awards. That's the British equivalent of the Oscars, the British Film Awards. The nominations were announced earlier this week. One Battle After Another with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tiana Taylor is leading nominations with 14. Sinners, Ryan Coogler's Sinners, in second place with 13 nominations. And Wicked for Good actually picked up some nominations, even though they were snubbed by the Oscars. They picked up several nominations. So good luck to them. What'd you say?
Deserve, and I'm glad that Cynthia and Ariana are up for a Grammy for Defying Gravity. We'll see what happens there.
We'll see what happens on Sunday. Like I
We
said,
will.
come back here next Thursday. We're gonna have a recap of the Grammys. We're gonna see, is Cynthia and Ariana gonna take away awards? Will Lady Gaga take away awards? Will Bad Bunny start off his February on a high note before he starts the Super Bowl? We will find out next week. Okay. So with that, we're gonna go into our next segment, Do Better Blues. So we was talking a little bit like about anger and stuff and emotions, but this segment is going to be dedicated towards giving grace. So I don't know if you guys are aware, the Australia Open is underway. If you're not a sports girly, that is a tennis competition that's happening in Australia. Very big deal. Coco Golf, very phenomenal player, very popular. She was actually knocked out in the quarterfinal earlier this week, and she was caught on camera after she shook hands with her opponent and gracefully walked off the court. She thought that she was in a private area, and she began to have a little rage moment, breaking the tennis racket, banging into the ground and stuff. Nobody else was involved. It was just her in a private moment that she thought, but cameras caught it and it went viral. And there was a lot of negative feedback from the general public and even some critics who was saying it was like unsportsmanlike conduct, unprofessional, wasn't ladylike. And it got to the point that a lot of athletes had to jump into her defense. Like Serena Williams jumped in, her husband, who is the co-founder of Reddit, he jumped in. Clarissa Shields, who is an Olympic winning heavy a big weight title female boxer from Detroit, she had to weigh in it and said, look, this is what happens as athletes. We put our whole body on the line, and it's a big emotion. It's a lot of emotions that's involved in. I used to run track. I used to play softball. I used to play volleyball. So I can relate to Coco Golf because there was sometimes after a loss, I will be very emotional because you're training your body. You're very disciplined. It's like it's more than just a game. Like you're very much involved as an athlete, and losses can feel very, very personal. And the way how she let it out was in a healthy way. It's not like she came out and attacked anybody. She wasn't cussing anybody out. She wasn't being physical or hurting anybody else. It was a private moment with an inanimate object.
And it was
Nobody
hers, right? She didn't
exactly.
not like she took the racket from the person she was playing or somebody else's racket, took a racket from a child's hands who was in the audience.
What I like that Serena Williams said, she gave her grace and said, look, I've done it plenty of times. If you want to learn how to break a racket in one swing, give me a call, Coco. I'll show you how to do it Serena style. Like it's normal as an athlete for you to like want to express yourself, especially after a loss and stuff. And so for people being online and just trying to cause a problem out of nothing, we got to learn to give people grace, okay? Because we're all dealing with emotions. Some people express themselves different ways just because somebody expresses themselves more physically than you do. That doesn't mean that it's wrong, especially if they're not hurting anybody. So I just want to say, let's all mind our business and give people grace, especially after you just lost in a tournament that would allow you to get several hundreds of thousands of dollars. I will be breaking a tennis racket too, because money is on the line.
I hear you. What really resonates with me about your invitation to show grace for each other is what you said. One of the feedback about this was that this experience was not ladylike. And something that has the person that I'm giving reverence to is somebody that highlights how women have been socialized a certain way to not be mad. Like how many times have we seen men show a private act of aggression that never goes viral? And so I've been reading this book. It is called Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde, and it's a collection of her essays and speeches. And she really speaks about her experience of being a Black lesbian woman and her perspective traveling around the world, of understanding that we live in a country, we live in a culture where women are intentionally oppressed, and invites, like, her writing really invites people to think differently. What I really like about it is that this is about showing them grace. Nothing that I've read so far has been chastising the patriarchy. There's no criticism of the way that things are. It's just this like really flat out, this is the way things are. What if we saw things this way? What if we did this? In my experience, loving women, these are the essay I read this morning was about eroticism and how women sensuality is portrayed in a way that's very pornographic and detached from the spiritual expression of what it means to be sensual, what it means to be erotic. And so it wasn't like pornography is bad. It was just, this is what happens when we live in a way of being and a way of thinking of ourselves and our eroticism as for the gaze of men or to compete with other women, then we aren't truly experiencing the gift of eroticism. And so I gotta highlight, give reverence to, bow to Audre Lorde. I don't think we learn enough about her in our school systems. I learned about her like in my early 20s. I think the book I read, I can't even think of the book that I read. It was a fiction book and it totally stuck with me, but I'd never read. What inspired me to pick up Sister Outsider is I was watching the show Ginny and Georgia on Netflix. Have you ever seen that show? Be
I've
Lovely.
heard of it. Our cousin is a big fan and she's been trying to get me to watch it.
I love it, and it's one of those things like where there's a mixed girl at the center of the show, so that's a big part of it. Anytime that there's that challenge of this mixed girl who's being raised by her white mother, her black father's in the picture, but he travels around the world and she's never really lived with him full time. So the challenges that she experiences being mixed race in high school is a story that I experienced and I've never really seen on screen like that before. So I'm a giant fan of the show. And in one of the things that she deals with is in her predominantly white school, she knows all the answers and her teacher's constantly giving her like just extra work to do just because of her just being black and the way that she calls him out. And he gives her the homework of finding a book of an assignment that everybody in the class should read. And she was like, Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. That's the book. And I never read it. So I was like, let me pick that book up. And I'm loving it. I'm glad that TV show, that Netflix show introduced me to it. And I got to give Audre Lorde her reverence for being ahead of the game. And it's also really fun reading speeches from a woman from like that takes place in the 70s, you know, the kinds of things that we are dealing with today. The ways that she talks about it is a way that nobody else is really talking about right now. And it's inspiring. So giving Audre Lorde my reverence.
Thank you for giving her reverence and like, giving us this type of information because like you said, I've never heard of Audre Lorde before. These stories are usually, I don't want to say gatekeep is not the word, but not picked up and shared like how they're supposed to be. And these type of stories, this type of information is important.
So I feel like it's a perfect segue into my making peace with your inner shit talker reflection question. This is from day 36, which I haven't gotten to on my Substack yet. I'm on like day 30, day 35 is the next thing that I need to write. And obviously I'm dragging my feet, seeing as I'm looking up at day 36. But the question is, Be Lovely, do you prioritize reading, learning about, and connecting with people of different cultures, sexual orientations, and gender identities?
Yes, yes, yes. That was a priority in my household growing up. My mom, the reason why like she moved us from North Carolina to the DMV areas because she said she wanted us to be immersed around people from different backgrounds, different cultures. And I've always been very curious by nature. So anything that's different from me, I've always wanted to like know, like, the why, the what, and all that stuff, like very
What's
curious.
up and why?
Exactly. Yeah, so like for me, like that's always how I've lived my life, wanting to. I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. I'm very curious by nature, and I love connecting with other people and learning more from people because I feel like we're all different for a reason because we have something different that can help unlock something in the next person.
I hear that. And like even you mentioned your mom really leading with this, but we it is a quality that your father had that came from our family too. So it makes sense to me that he would choose your mom to have
Mhm.
you with. That this would be a quality that the two of them have in common, as that concept, being a lifelong learner. That's the whole idea. Coming from a family of teachers, being a
Yes.
lifelong learner, that quality is really driven home to us. And I think our community, our culture would have a lot more grace from each other if this was something that we did, if more of us operated like this.
I feel like we have more to learn from each other. Like society tries to pit people against each other and make it seem like we're different. We do have our own differences, but when you look down to the core, the human core motivators, we all have the same type of core motivators. We all want to be, I'm not going to get into all this field, but I think that it's important to be able to connect with people from different cultures so that you have different perspectives in life. Because if you're looking at life from what you were taught, what you're used to, you are completely missing several different dimensions that this world has, different lenses to see this world because people are living this life from different lenses. And so just keep that in mind. You can always learn something new. As I like to say, every day above ground is a day to learn something new and to improve. So
For
be
sure.
curious and try to explore and learn your environment and the people in your community.
Be curious really sticks out for me, because I feel as if we live in this culture of right and wrong, like you said, put against each other, right or left. Somebody posted on Facebook earlier this week how Joe Biden and Barack Obama were the worst presidents in America. And I said, tell me more. I'd love to hear more about why you feel this way. And he said, if you can't see it, you're lost. And I said, obviously, we have different experiences as Americans. And so my perspective is different from yours. And I think that there's more value in me making an effort to understand your perspective than to call each other wrong or lost. And that's really been my shift, is instead of turning people away or not listening to beliefs that I don't agree with, I ask questions. Tell me
Yeah.
more. I want to understand where you're coming from. It's not my experience, but instead of shutting you down and telling you you're wrong, I'm going to ask. And if you come back at me with my question of calling me wrong, I'm going to be clear that I'm just trying to understand a different perspective. If that's not who you want to do, we don't have to do that. That's just where I'm coming from.
That response that that person gave you just automatically already makes whatever that they're going to say after that null and void. Because if somebody comes to you saying, hey, can you give evidence or, I don't want to say facts, but what is it that from your point of view, what is it that you have? And if you can't defend it, null and void.
Right? And somebody else, like they said something about how the Boston mayor said $1 billion were spent on housing and providing food for undocumented people. And I was like, can you show me that somewhere? Can I
That
see
would be leading
citation?
news
He's
everywhere.
like, look it up. I was like, I did look it up before I asked you where you got this information from. I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
There's been a really good question, but that's why this show is called What's Up and Why. Like when people present stuff from you, ask why. Okay, if somebody
Mhm.
tells you that the sky is blue, you better go outside and check for it yourself. Okay, don't take everything at face value. Always question why. Is there anything that you want to end on this note or share before we get up on out of here, Rev Casey Taylor?
I do not. I think you dropped us off with a perfect gem. Would you like to pray us out, or would you like me to pray us out?
I'll let you pray us out.
All right. I love
like
how you keep switching it up. I'm a fan. So I am grateful that I'm grateful for each one of us having our own understanding of spirit, that we are not telling people the right and wrong way of expressing spirituality, but that we are perfect demonstrations of having different ideas of spiritual expression, and that we come together to ask the question, what's up and why, in a non-judgmental way of giving each other grace and inspiring and supporting our community in doing the same. I'm grateful to trust and know that whatever needs to have been said and heard by the audience has been heard and said, that the perfect impact has been made from this experience of our show together. And I'm grateful to trust and know that each one of us is experiencing our own understanding of the best day ever. And in gratitude, I invite us to affirm this prayer however we are most comfortable in closing prayer. I choose to close by saying, and so it is.
Amen. What a wonderful prayer and what a wonderful episode we had. Thank you guys for joining us for another week of What's Up and Why. Make sure that you follow us on our socials. We're on YouTube at What's Up Why Show and on Instagram at WUAW Show. Thank you, and we will see you guys again here, same time, same place next week. I'm Be Lovely.
And I'm Rev Casey Taylor. Have the best week ever.